And so even though Travl is my token of choice, I'm very much interested in Slerf for many reasons. And I've been tracking Slerf since the beginning of its launch. So let me just have a look at Slerf. And so yesterday I was looking, last night I was looking at Slerf and I was thinking to myself, this doesn't look too bad. And so one thing I liked about Slerf yesterday when I was looking at it was that we had managed to get back above this pivot that I marked off, and we'd managed to hold it as support. You see here we've held it as support. When you see that gives me confidence to take a trade. So I'm in a trade and all my invalidation is low, but if I suddenly see the price losing my support, I will close the trade, take a loss. Okay, I'm not expecting that to happen because it'll probably go lower if that happens. At the moment, we've flipped this back into support. So that's kind of what you wanted to see. I didn't get the best entry, but I like to scale in. I don't like to just jump in. And so I'm okay with that because it's really not about your entry. It's about your invalidation and your risk, how much you're willing to risk in that invalidation. If this is the bottom, then you've got one of the best trades here right now. We are still into resistance. There is still a bump and run trade potential if we can break this out of trend line. But if this is the bottom, if this happens to be the bottom, then you have literally the best trade on your hands right now. Okay, because you have such a small invalidation. It's basically underneath this flipped pivot, this one here. Basically that's your invalidation. I've got it slightly wider down to here. Doesn't really matter because if this is now the bottom, if this pivot holds, it's above these lines, it's above the all-time low. That's a higher low. And if it holds, then you can have a really crazy lucrative trade if we go up to about $30, 100x by next year. You'd have a 1 to 785 risk to reward ratio just on this trade here. So it's worth a risk, huh? It's worth a little bit of a gamble. Take the trade. It's an easy trade to take. You could lose whatever you risk. Like if you risk $100 here, you can lose it if you get stopped out like that. But if we do end up holding and you don't get stopped out, that $100 could turn into $78,000 just by hitting 100x on this token in the peak of alt season next year. I would think that's within reach. 100x, yeah, why not? So I'm actually quite interested in this trade. You obviously wouldn't hold out for 100x. You'd probably be looking to take profit at this pivot here. So actually, the real trade depends. I mean, people can trade this how they want. If that is the low, we are putting in the low now on Slerf. That could be the low. Then just up to this pivot high here on this risk to reward, you're looking at a 1 to 1400. Sorry, 1 to 14. So you risk $100 and you can make $1,400. It's a really good risk to reward return on investment if we hold this low. And actually, you know, that could be your invalidation anyway. That's 1 to 29. So I'm quite bullish on Slerf at the moment, just because I see a lot of I see a little bit of exhaustion in the way the price is sold and has been selling. And actually the trade is this bump and run idea where we break this trend line and we come back into some support line and then we continue. And so even though I'm in a long now, which is risky to a degree because we're still into resistance, Bitcoin still hasn't found its strength, and it could, if Bitcoin pulls back, this could easily go down, very possible. But if Bitcoin holds its feet and we do break this trend line, then I'll be looking to add to my position, and then I'll be looking to tighten my invalidation a little bit, because then we've broken that line. We put in another back test, and that becomes your invalidation, your new invalidation, wherever that is, and I'll be looking to add to that trade for continuation. Probably you'd want to take profit at the golden pocket, to be honest with you. You wouldn't just hold out all the way to there. That wouldn't make any sense. You'd want to take profit at the golden pocket, wherever the golden pocket lands. So at the moment I've got it to there. It's not correct. It's to here. So it's from that pivot high to this pivot low at the moment. That's your golden pocket. It lines up perfectly with this weekly level. So, and also with this anchored VWAP. So I think there's quite a strong resistance area there. And so we may get into a situation where we do have some kind of breakout. Hopefully we go up, we find resistance, we get a pullback, and then we have to see what happens, you know, because then that will be about Bitcoin. And if Bitcoin then, after you do hit into resistance, whatever happens, you know, Bitcoin struggles, then again you could be trying to fall right back into the lows, and then we have to see how impulsive this is. Was this like a wave 1 of the wave 3? You know, we have to check that out. We have to see what the impulse is, or could this just be another ABC? So even though you'd probably be targeting on a bumper run, you'd be targeting up there, you wouldn't just be naive and not take profit as you come into a big resistance level like that. If this low holds, that's something to bear in mind. Okay, let me just get rid of these for now. Let me do an updated volume range on this. Good morning, David. Oh, good. I like the multi-chain with TRVL, but I hate that there's so much supply, 1 billion. My personal strategy, I've stuck to either way. Either way says nothing more than 100 million units. RW narrative blowing up. I remember Rio, Leo, ALBTAK and XRA was the only names talking about tokenization. So when it comes to the 1 billion on TRVL, most of that's going into the foundation and into the community growth fund. Not much of it is vested to advisors and the team, and the vesting period is over a period of 5 years. So they're not really even going to get their tokens during the bull market. They're going to get it during the bear market. Most of those, the rest of those 700 million is going to be released during the bear market. If you think the bull market's only going to last about a year, most of those tokens are going to be released afterwards. I've been talking to them and telling them to make it more clear, because I think there's a little bit of confusion, because people aren't very clear about the why. And if you dig a little bit deeper, you realize that it's not that bearish after all, because most people who are investing now will probably be looking to take profit by next year. Before that becomes a real problem. And the problem is dilution, isn't it? It's your token supply being inflated, your value being inflated. All right, let's go back to Slerf. You kind of want this volume area to come down. There's a little bit more volume here, a little bit higher volume node. If we can get above that high volume node, that would be really amazing. We need to put more volume in now, right now. It's really important that we can put in more volume at this level. Yeah, you've got a really strong volume node there as well. You can see we are putting in volume. See that? Let me see how close we are to changing this value area. 75. 75 bring us down to here. Very close, sorry, to 80. Yeah, still far. We're still quite far away, unfortunately. Look, see, this is 90% of the volume. So we're within 90%. You see that? And we need to bring it down to 68% and to be within the value area. See, we change it back up to 68% and the value area is up there. So 68% of the volume, most of the volume is up there still. And actually what we need to do is we need to shift this point of control to the lows. Having a little bit of a pullback now on Slerf. We have a look at HTX as well and see what the volume area is like there. Oh, we put in a crap load of volume here. Look at that. We're close on HTX. See that? Let me do the same thing here. Go straight to 80. No, it's still not enough. Still not enough. Okay. I can see a lot of spot being bought here on HTX. You see that? This isn't selling. This isn't spot market HTX. This is buying. Yeah. People aren't selling spot at the lows, they're buying. Now, obviously, the buyers have to sell. The buying has to buy something, so someone is selling. But for me, this looks like buying. And you still have this pivot here, and I don't really want to lose that pivot. For me, that would be. I think if we lose that pivot, I'll get bearish again. I'm quite bullish right now. I do like, you see, I like this 4-hour candle, this green candle. I like how it closed above this previous kind of inverse red hammer. I like how it closed above this previous wick. I like how the price is now above this previous wick, how it's come down like this. I really like this. How it's come back up here and it's holding here. And so as long as we hold support, I would be expecting something like that. That's what I'd be looking for. Something like that. As long as we hold that support line, I'll be looking for something like that. What I don't want to see on Slerf is again to start losing that and attacking the lows. I don't want the lows to be attacked again. And if you look at the previous price action, you see these wicks, they kind of did hold as resistance levels. And now this one, we're back above it. You see that? We're back above it. So whereas before you were losing those wicks and you're finding resistance, losing those wicks and you're finding resistance, here we lost the wick and we reclaimed the wick. Lost the wick, reclaimed the wick. For me, that's a change of behavior. Even though it doesn't look like a big difference, maybe people are probably looking at this and going, it looks the same to me, the way the price has moved down. And for all intents and purposes, it does look the same. But let me just hide these lines now. I'll do it on the Bybit chart just so that you see what I see. Go to the 2-hour time frame. What you can see after we kind of had this, we had this kind of head and shoulders pattern here. Kind of a break. Neckline was back tested. Yeah, back tested there. We came above here. We came above this previous line and we lost it. As soon as we lost it, the price dropped. Okay, so that was where it really began. That's where the price really started to free fall. After we reclaimed that support line and then lost it, losing a support line after reclaiming, it's quite bearish. And then, as you can see, as the price moved down, you're forming these kind of SR flips. Again, the price came above it. As soon as you lost it, it fell. Yeah, as soon as you reclaim a level that's strength, you lose it, that's weakness. It fell. Okay, it fell. And again, you had the same thing, resistance, you came back down, you tried to reclaim it, and as soon as you lost it, it fell. That line there. Now, we're back above the line, we're holding the line again. So, in the same spirit, you don't want to lose this line again. This is the line. Same thing. If we were to lose it, you'd probably get another sell-off. Exactly the same behavior. But we're back above it. And actually, when I'm looking at the way the price has come back above it, whereas here we were up above it for basically maybe 2 candles, maybe 3. Here is slightly more, is up and down, but maybe 2 or 3, 4 candles here. You see here now we've been up a bit above it for much more, like 9 candles. Okay, so it's slightly different compared to the past. Excuse me. It's not the same. That's what I'm saying. It looks different. To me, it looks different. And I think it's good that we've broken this steeper line here. We've broken it. We've back tested it. We haven't managed to, we've lost that level, but now we're back above it. Almost. kind of like that. I kind of like the way the price is forming here. I didn't really expect us to break this line and then now suddenly go up and up. Often when you break these bump lines, you still go down until you finally bottom out, and then you're trying to form some kind of bottoming pattern here, which is what I feel like that's what's trying to happen. Now we still have to contend against this outer trend line. That's going to still be a problem, and we're going to have to get above it. And it's going to require strength to get above that line, and then we're going to have to hold a support line. I think it'll be really good if we can get back above this previous wick, get back above this outer trend line, back test it for support. You have a really nice trade, a bump and run on your hands then, if that was to happen. Zahid, hello. I looked at ASM coin yesterday. I think you should, I wouldn't bother with these football tokens, honestly. I think a waste of time. I don't know what you're thinking about. I had a look at it yesterday. I don't know what you want to say about it. They're rubbish. How's that? Here I am talking about Slerf and you're talking to me about ASM. I don't know. Yeah, the all-time low is down here. We haven't even taken the buy bit low, and when you look at HTX on Slerf, even though on CoinGecko it was reported that the all-time low was made, or we made a new all-time low. You see on HTX, you see the all-time low corresponds with this pivot low here. Okay, that's the all-time low that I'm considering. So unless we take out that low, I consider that we're potentially making a higher low all the way to, and there's a really good like risk to reward here, by the way, for people, and I think a lot of people are a bit nervous about Bitcoin, but you know, if you hold a higher low, if you hold a higher low, that's your trade. Take this as far as you want. Take it to the all-time high. There's a really good ROI on that trade. That's a risk one and potentially earn 21. Risk 1,000, potentially get to 21,000 just on that trade. That's a really good ROI on this trade, just because of the location of where we're in. It's hard for people to buy because they're worried that it's going to make a low. That's why you only risk a certain percentage of your account. That's why you don't go all in. But you can make a good, healthy profit if that low holds. For safety, you wait for the trend line to break. Yeah, for safety. If people want to be a little bit safer, you just wait for this outer trend line to break. You'll end up a little bit higher up. Okay. But what I'm seeing now is potentially a bottoming formation. Potentially. We need to look at the... I mean, I don't know if... I think it's possible to go up like that. And then have one more pullback into the halving. You know, I think that's possible. Just one more rally. Let's see, ABC, AB, no, maybe not. Otherwise you're going lower. You know? So looking at the daily time frame, let me look at these candles for you. Let me hide these. So I don't mind that candle that formed yesterday, this red candle. I don't think it's that bearish, even though it's a bearish candle, because we closed above the previous day wick. We closed above that previous day. Okay, we took the liquidity. We closed above the previous day and the previous day. So we're still closing above support, even though we're taking liquidity from the lows. We're still closing higher. So I think that's okay. but you do want to see this formation complete. You don't just want to see it end with that one candle. You need, what we need to happen now is we either need this to be a nice strong green candle pushing up, or we need like a doji with a following day for a green candle to come up. Like, you need that to happen. You can't just form this formation where it's showing a little bit of strength and then not continue. You need a continuation on that formation. When you look at the 3-day candle, it's actually still quite weak. Yeah, that's like a continuation candle. But you see it's increasing volume. So you're getting some increasing volume into the lows. And then when you look at the 12-day candle, 12-hour candle, you see how the 12-hour candle closed above the wick there. It still hasn't come above 50% of this previous candle. I can see that there's a little bit of change here in the way the candles are forming. If you look at this whole formation of this whole down move, you've got these long red candles followed by 2 green. There's 1 green there, 2 green, 2 green. This is the first candle, apart from up here, where you had a little bit of a buy up from the low. And then the difference is that here we've closed above this wick here, whereas here you didn't actually achieve that. This red wick, we weren't able to close back above it. This we were. There's a little bit of a change here. So I just want to see how this plays out. So that's why I'm in a little bit of a long. I'm in a long because it's a good place to long, and I'm in a long because I have an easy invalidation. Yeah, I just don't want to see the price fall back underneath this this level here. I'll rename it to SR flip. Okay, I'm not going to add to my position. I could be more aggressive and add. If I start seeing the price fall back underneath that, I'll start to take a loss. I'll be okay with that. Yeah, and that's the trade. And then if for some reason we lose that line and then we come back above, then I'll be looking to re-enter again. Okay, I'm not just gonna, I'm gonna see what the reactions are like. And you might take 1 loss or 2 losses, small losses, but eventually you end up with a crazy winner. Okay, and that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to end up with a crazy winner. At the moment it's still okay. It's still okay. And obviously this could always happen. You could always find resistance and head for another low, and you're just making lower lows and lower highs. Could always happen. Yeah, and actually we're just trying to preempt the future, but nothing here changes until we can eventually take out this high to make a higher high. You know, that's what we really need to do. Take out that high and then come in to make a higher low, and then we're off to the races. That's what we need to do to change this downtrend. We have to see how this plays out. Okay. It's looking a little bit weak now. Fortunately, why is that? Could it be Bitcoin? Yeah, it's Bitcoin. See, Bitcoin causes problems for these altcoins, but as long as the altcoins don't lose their support lines, then they're still good. But you see, that's quite a strong sell-off after you had such a nice kind of up move. It's a bit of a strong sell-off. These strong sell-offs get brought up quite nicely when they do, but here you can clearly see that we're trying to lose. The sentiment is still quite negative. It's not positive at the moment. I'm not really worried about these channels. I'm more concerned about this pivot here. This pivot for me is more interesting. The other thing I'm going to do here quickly is volume range. This is problematic. We've just come underneath the point of control here. Slightly problematic. Let me take the wider range. And take it all the way to this pivot here. It's slightly higher up. This one here. Zahid says rubbish will go if BTC goes up. Yeah, maybe that's true. It's unfortunate that we couldn't go up higher. Don't really know what to say because I wanted to go up badly. I'm just trying to see if I can find anything interesting. Like a hope. I want some hope. As long as we hold that line, I'm okay. Yeah, like I'm not gonna be bearish. This pivot here. I just want to hold that line. This nice pivot. And I want to see some more volume put into this lower range. Yeah. It's a really good place to pick up spot on this token. This isn't, whatever happens, this is not, people pick up spot here, they'll make money in the next year. It's not, you're not going to lose your money. If you pick up spot here, I don't see how we don't go back up. The question is whether we make an all-time low and we go up to the golden pocket to make a lower high, or whether we hold a higher low and we're off to the races, because then you're aiming for the higher high, the higher all-time high. That's the question. That is the question. Hold on, I've got this phone call. I've got to take it. Where did it go? Okay. You know, sometimes you want to make things go up, but you just have to follow the charts and see what the charts say. You can't just make things go up just because we have a little bit of a prejudice. Yeah, and so that's why you have to have these invalidations and levels, so that if the price does, if I start seeing the price, if I start losing this pivot, then I'm going to get a little bit bearish again. Okay, and you know, you might get into a situation where you lose and you just bounce off this value area low, you come back up. It may happen. And I think it's got everything to do with Bitcoin right now. I think it's a really good place to buy Slerf. See, this is coming back into support lines potentially. And actually the problem with Bitcoin right now is there's a little bit of bearish CBD going on here. And we just need this to kind of become bullish again.